I made a magic system for my graphic novel world, and I came to find out that most of the YouTube experts on soft and hard magic systems when it comes to world building are looking at the entire magic thing all wrong. Of course, this is in my own understanding, and I want a disclaimer that everyone is different, so my opinions might not mesh with yours, but that's what this video is about. I have beef with hard magic systems, and I don't care if it's vegetarian. My issue stems from the fact that hard magic systems aren't even magic at all. Now, I didn't start out as a hard magic hater. Whenever I began work on my online graphic novel, The Lost Land Sage, 3 years ago, I actually totally bought into the whole hard magic, soft magic systems that I was being sold. I was wondering incessantly if my world needed more structure and more logic to make it a magic system that makes total sense. About 1 year into my quest for the perfect magic system for my perfect little world, one YouTube video and subsequent watching of The Lord of the Rings made me rethink everything. By the way, hello! My name is Tiara, and welcome back to my channel. I'm actually not going to tell you about my story, The Lost Land Sage, and how you can read it via the links in the description until the end of this video, because I want you to stick around and hear me rag on hard magic. Before I go too deep into my ongoing conflict with the entire concept of hard magic, I want to tell you about my own magic for the world of Tourmaline, which is the world in which my story, The Lost Land Sage, takes place. How is the magic in The Lost Land Sage? In this world, using magic is completely shaped around intention, and there are two main intentions that really shape how magic manifests in the world. The first one is desire. So this is an intention that I like to think is based around ambition, the ambition of the caster. And the other intention behind all magic within the world is fear, which is an intent based around survival. I also, when making a loose magic chart to sort of help me along my journey in understanding magic within this world, I also included a non-magic category, just because at the current time of the story as it's being told, the magic of men has been sealed away by a long lost spell. So, the men still need to be accounted for in the world, and that is why the non-magic column exists. But I do want to go back to the main two intentions behind just about all magic in the world, and that's desire and fear. So neither fear or desire-based magic is a good or bad thing inherently. Can ambition be a good thing? Yes, it absolutely can, to a certain extent. There is a such thing as being too ambitious, where it is the detriment of your health, your relationships, your well-being. Can survival ever be a bad thing? No, I don't think it's a bad thing. In fact, playing a bit off of human nature, I think it's a natural thing to want to survive, to do your best to make it through. However, survival can turn into a bad thing if it leads to you harming yourself or others for that survival. And so that is why I really think leaning into desire and fear, not as good or bad, just is a really good basis for magic in this world. One or both can be good or bad. And the reason I chose fear and desire, ambition or survival, is because I think when looking at humans and breaking down a lot of our base motivations, inspirations, and actions, I think it often can be boiled down to desire and fear. Now, I haven't thought about this in quite a while, but I remember when I was thinking incessantly on what the main intentions behind magic could be, what every emotion can lead back to, those were the two that really stood out to me. The only two that I really couldn't break down much more than that. And so that is how the magic in the Lost Land Sage exists within the world. To help you understand what this magic in action actually looks like, I want to set the scene for you. You are a young witch in the world of the Lost Land Sage, and you find yourself waking up in a damp, dark cave. From the lens of desire, you actually purposefully fell asleep here. You went out for an adventure and found this cave and wanted to explore, but you were a little sleepy, so you took a nap. But upon waking up, you're excited to see what all is in this cave and what you've uncovered. And so you emit a soul glow from your hand, and that is the effect of the desire you have within you to have a light in this damp, dark cave, and that intention. On the other side of the spectrum, there is fear, where you have no idea how the heck you got here, but it's dark. It's dark as heck. You cannot see, you're not even sure your eyes are open. It's so dark, and you need to get the heck out. So you know what comes out of your hand when you go ahead and cast a spell for light? Fire. Because that is what happens when the intention for the magic of light is fear. Now, for all you guys out there, I didn't forget about you. Let's say you're a man in the world of the Lost Land Sage, an ex-wizard, if you will, and either you have a torch and it's lit, or you have a torch, it's not lit, and you're kind of screwed. That is the magic in action in the Lost Land Sage. And yes, I do understand that men have gotten the short end of the stick. There's a lot of reason behind that. I've posted in blogs. I think I've talked about it briefly in a video, and I could definitely talk about it more in depth if you guys want to know about the disparity between men and women in this world in a little more detail. But hopefully, it is a conflict that gets solved within the course of this story. Now, the rules of magic for this world. So there are some spells, some incantations, some potions that are actually restricted due to the innate power that those things hold. Not everyone who does it or uses it is necessarily trustworthy, at least in the eyes of the covens, and so they are restricted and protected. As far as the reader knows, that's you guys, if the magic is based on desire or fear in any capacity, and like I said before, when breaking down what the base motivation, intention, emotion of most actions that people take, desire and fear were the ones that I sort of came up with. So if the magic is based on desire or fear, it is entirely in the realm of capabilities. And now, after sitting through that little explanation, thank you, good job, you get a cookie. We've reached the section of the video where I start throwing dukes with hard magic. But first, I want to take a break in the middle of this video to say this video is sponsored by me. Hi, I have a Ko-Fi. What? I know, I leave it in the description of all my videos. I've talked about it in every video since I made this Ko-Fi, but for those of you who didn't know, maybe it's your first video, I have a Ko-Fi. On my Ko-Fi, you can follow for free for regular blog posts and updates about what's going on behind the scenes of the Lost Land Sage. I actually have a little in-depth blog up there right now, delving more into magical signatures that can happen when using magic within the world of the Lost Land Sage. I also have paid memberships where the different tiers can earn you different rewards from $1 all the way up to $20. The rewards include Discord access, early page releases, digital downloads every single month, your name's at the end of this video, and probably a little bit more that I'm not remembering right now. But if that sounds interesting at all to you, then like I said, the link's in the description, and I would love to have you join me over there at Ko-Fi. Now that the self-sponsorship portion of this video is over, let's get back to the actual main content. magic systems. Hard and soft magic systems. I briefly know that I touched on this in my YouTube video going over the inspirations that I've had in creating this graphic novel. As far as my research can tell, the entire concept of hard and soft magic was actually popularized by a science fiction slash fantasy slash young adult author named Brandon Sanderson. Now, I do want to prerequisite, I don't know what the word will be, but I want to say before that this is not a critique of Brandon Sanderson. He is both older than me. He has an actual career as an author where it says it on his Wikipedia page. And so I'm sure, and I will be, learning a lot from him. This is in no way me saying that I know better or more than Brandon Sanderson. I am just a person with very strong opinions and has no issues sharing them. The definition of hard magic, from what I understand, is magic that has clear rules and clear logic. So readers can follow along step by step and have deductive reasoning and critical thinking to understand exactly how the magic works. I think it's comparable, actually, to a science or an alchemy. It is rational, studied, textbook ready, etc., etc. This is hard magic. And this is the exact antithesis of what magic is. What? Yes. So the whimsical, fantastical, that is the essence of magic. I think hard magic systems basically reduce magic to something that is explainable and systematic and easy for people. Oh gosh, I can't believe I'm about to say this. Easy for people with limited creativity to understand. I'm sorry, that is really harsh, but I don't, like I said, I just think hard magic is kind of the antithesis of actual magic. With soft magic, it's magic without clear, consistent rules from the reader's perspective. So there is a feeling that anything can happen. And isn't that magic in the first place? Isn't that why we depict magic as we do in fantasy settings? Now, don't get me wrong, I do understand that weak writers can absolutely misuse soft magic as a narrative crutch, aka Deus Ex Machina. No, not even the great J.R.R. Tolkien is above it. But that is not inherently the fault of soft magic itself. It is the fault of a weak writer who wrote themselves into a corner and don't know how to get out. Speaking of J.R.R. Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, known by many people who engage in fantasy in any capacity as sort of the grandfather of creating the genre of fantasy. He created Middle-earth, and it is my belief that Middle-earth uses soft magic. And it was actually the intention of Tolkien to create magic with mystery. That was his whole point. I believe that at the time, the modern world were adverse to things that did not have clear explanations. There was no room for mystery and wonder. And I respect Tolkien in his efforts to bring back, preserve that mystery and wonder in the modern world without feeling the need to explain everything. Why did this happen? Because it's magic. And that's the only answer you'll ever need. Now, I am someone who has always loved mystery. Personally, good mystery thriller or just a general whodunit sleuthy mystery. I love Sherlock Holmes. I have the collector's edition and read every single Sherlock Holmes story growing up. Still haven't brought myself around to watch a show, but I did start Psych. It's pretty good. I'm getting distracted. My point is, even if you are the great Sherlock Holmes, it is my belief that not all mysteries need a solution to be good. In fact, the best mysteries don't have answers because they stay in your mind. Some things in the real world and in fantastical stories just are. Now, let me give you a personal view of mine that I bring up quite often in the real world. Walking. Walking is physical. It is explainable on how it happens in science, but the why, and I mean the actual why can we just walk in itself is magical. I mean, think about it, okay? Why on earth am I, me, myself, able to just glide through space and time, pushing my body weight forward with my feet? And that's just what you do. Nobody really questions it, but I mean, if you think about it for a little bit, it's like, yeah, that's kind of magic. It kind of is. But we don't question it. We don't think about it all the time and break down all of the little details and get really existential every day to make sure we can explain the hard reason why we walk. We just walk. And I think that is a great explanation of magic to me. It's like existence. It can retain the mystery, unless you feel like you want to get existential. It'll retain the mystery, but it still feels just like life. Okay, so wrapping this up, soft magic, I believe, reflects the actual, real, natural mystery that magic is intended to be within the everyday life of the world you insert it in. I believe that introducing strict rules to magic systems turns it into something else. Something like alchemy, which is not a bad thing. Alchemy is not wrong or disgusting. I still really want to watch Full Metal Alchemist, but it is not magic. That's why they have different names. As a true fantasy magic purist, I believe that true fantasy magic should embrace the fantastical, the mystical, and the inexplicable. Now, I said at the start of this video that I am someone who holds very strong opinions. I hope that the way I went about making this video is something that encourages a discourse, not outright mean for no reason comments. And I do know that my opinions on hard magic were made very obvious in this video, but despite the fact that I have these strong opinions, I am open to my opinion changing or developing further through conversation, productive conversation. So I say all that to encourage you to leave your defense of hard magic in the comments so we can get that conversation going. Also, it is my hope that my arguments against hard magic and for soft magic were articulated well throughout this video. I made a whole document with bullet points and ideas, so I'm hoping so. But as the nature of my mental illness is sometimes hard for me to articulate things verbally, so it is my request that you could just assume that I have good intentions. That would be great. And everyone who may or may not comment also has good intentions. Anxiety aside, you can read all about how I implement my understanding of magic systems into my fantasy world by reading The Lost Land Sage. So slick sliding that in there. I post 2 new pages every other Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Comic Fury. So next week, 2 new pages will be released. I also post every single Sunday at 11 a.m. EST on WEBTOONs. Both of those are going to be linked in the description. But I want to clarify that the reason I post every week on WEBTOONs is because WEBTOONs is behind Comic Fury. So if you are a WEBTOON exclusive reader, I'm warning you for spoilers. Oh, and if you like this video or hated this video, you can let me know with a thumbs up or a thumbs down and subscribe, so that in 2 weeks, when I post a new video, you'll see me pop up in your notifications again. And it kind of actually hit me how crazy it is how many people watch my videos compared to how many people actually subscribe. It's like 90-something%. I'm not going to show you the little graph picture thing that people do and guilt trip you. It's not something that makes me like, oh, you guys should subscribe. It's actually something that's really exciting because it means that people are actually watching and listening to my videos. So I just think it's really cool because like 9 months ago, I had 20 subscribers and 5 regular viewers, and I just started this channel. So yeah, I think it's really, really cool that I've had like my past 2 videos hit 300 views. I just want to say thank you. Thank you guys so much. I'm really, really grateful. Anyway, all I have left to say is to stay curious and suffer the consequences. I will see you next time. Bye!